The episode begins with Sunraku charging forward, determined to reach the boss monster. His allies Rust, Mordo, and Emul engage in battle with the surrounding monsters, clearing a path for him. As Sunraku advances, he clashes with numerous foes, steadily making his way toward the boss. After some time, he finally reaches his target and immediately launches a relentless assault. As Sunraku continues pummeling the boss, a strange thought crosses his mind. Why is this fight so easy? The boss monster isn't putting up much resistance, and something about the situation feels off. He wonders if there's another, stronger boss hidden within this unique scenario. Alternatively, it could be that his allies' support is making this battle easier than expected. Suddenly, a figure appears. The great pirate stood. His ghostly form materializes on the ship, and he declares, "I will avenge my father's death." The players are stunned by his sudden arrival. Before anyone can react, the boss monster charges at Stud, preparing to strike him down. Sunraku quickly realizes the objective of the mission. Stud must be protected at all costs. He shouts this information to the others just as the boss monster closes in. The attack is about to land, but at the last second, Saiga Zero blocks the attack, saving Stud. Saiga Zero has equipped a completely different set of gear, likely due to side effects from previous battles. She fights fiercely alongside the others, repelling the attacking monsters. More players, including Akane and the sea crew, arrive to assist. However, as soon as Akane sets foot on the ghost ship, an unusual sensation spreads through the battlefield. A strange lag occurs, something Sunraku has never experienced before in Shangri-La Frontier. He immediately recognizes the symptoms. Game lag usually happens when a game processes a large amount of data at once. At that moment, a hurricane forms above them, unleashing violent winds that make it difficult for both players and monsters to maintain their footing. From the depths of the ocean, massive tentacles begin emerging, reaching toward the ship. Emil, recognizing the threat, warns everyone. This is Katarnit. Everyone freezes in fear. The legendary creature wraps its enormous tentacles around the ghost ship, tightening its grip. Mordo voices his confusion. We're inside a normal, unique scenario, so why is a unique monster appearing? Sunraku suspects that this unique scenario might be a direct gateway to an even more dangerous scenario, an X-unique scenario. With its full strength, Katarnit pulls the ghost ship under the ocean's surface. As the ship sinks, Sunraku receives a notification. After some time, Sunraku regains consciousness. He finds himself lying on the ocean floor, deep beneath the surface. He immediately realizes that he has entered the X-unique scenario. Panicked, he shouts for Emil, but there is no response. A worrying thought crosses his mind. Bringing Emil here was a terrible mistake. Unlike other players, Emil is an NPC. If something happens to her, she will not respawn. Sunraku climbs onto a nearby wreckage and surveys his surroundings. In the distance, he sees a massive underwater city. Another notification appears. Meet the Master of the Abyss. Despite the directive, Sunraku decides to prioritize finding his missing allies before anything else. He calls out for Emil once more. Somewhere in the distance, a wounded merman hears Sunraku's voice. Sunraku notices something strange. The fish monsters they had fought earlier on the ghost ship have reverted into ordinary fish. Curious, he captures one and stores it in his inventory. He begins analyzing the X-unique scenario, recalling the moment before activation. The lag occurred the instant Akane set foot on the ghost ship. This suggests that the activation requirements included Stud's survival and the presence of all party members aboard the ship. Suddenly, a countdown timer appears in front of Sunraku. 170 hours remaining. If I have 7 days, he thinks, that means they'll let me log out. There must be a safe zone somewhere in this area where I can save my progress and return later. Determined to find his allies, Sunraku resumes calling out for Emil while searching the submerged city. As he wanders, he hears hurried footsteps. Someone or something is running. Sunraku spots a figure darting away and immediately gives chase. That thing has a tail, Sunraku observes. It's probably a monster. Before he can react further, a horde of zombie fish monsters appears behind him, blocking his path. Sunraku attempts to distract them using tricks and evasive maneuvers, but the monsters remain fixated on him. Realizing he has no other choice, he uses his skills to leap onto the roof of a building. These things are too dumb to climb up here, he mutters, but there are way too many of them to fight directly. Just as he turns to leave, the figure he was chasing stops and speaks. Wait! Don't kill me! I'm not a monster. Sunraku is taken aback. This being can talk, and it looks different from the other monsters. Could it be an NPC related to this scenario? Before Sunraku can question it further, he notices the fish monsters beginning to stack on top of one another, forming a tower to reach him. Thinking quickly, Sunraku hands the mysterious NPC a healing potion and tells him to drink it before escaping. The NPC complies, running alongside Sunraku. Thanks for saving me, the NPC says. I don't know who you are, but I owe you. Sunraku suspects this NPC holds critical information about the X-unique scenario. If he lets him go, he might lose the chance to gather valuable intel. By the way, the NPC continues, you keep calling out someone's name. Let me give you some advice. Don't make too much noise. These monsters rely on sound and sight to detect their enemies. If you're not careful, they'll corner you and tear you apart. At that moment, a group of mermaids spots them from above. Sunraku and the NPC, who introduces himself as Araba, escape into a hidden safe area. Why were those things chasing you? Sunraku asks. You look just like them. Araba scowls. I am nothing like them. I am a merman. Don't compare me to those disgusting copies. A notification appears in front of Sunraku, confirming that any building in this area can function as a safe zone. He starts asking Araba more questions, but Araba suddenly freezes. I hear singing, he whispers. Oh no, the mermaids? Sunraku peers out the window and sees the mermaids floating nearby. He tells Araba to look as well, but Araba refuses. We need to leave. Now, Araba insists. However, Sunraku quickly realizes that the mermaid song has no effect on him. Due to the Lago Khan's curse mark, he is immune to such mental effects. Determined, he leaps onto the roof, facing the mermaids head-on. One of them grins and begins singing at full volume, but Sunraku remains unaffected. He retaliates, launching an aerial attack that injures one of them. This enrages the mermaids, but as they prepare to strike back, Araba suddenly intervenes. Without hesitation, Araba bites down on one of the mermaids, tearing it apart. The surviving mermaids, intimidated by his strength, flee. Did you see a massive sword anywhere in the city? Araba asks. Sunraku shakes his head. No. As soon as I got here, those fish monsters started chasing me. Araba nods. That makes sense. If you just arrived, you wouldn't know. Look up. That ceiling above us? It's actually the bottom of the ocean. And the ground beneath us? That's the surface. Underneath us is the sky. Sunraku is utterly confused. What are you even talking about? Araba smirks. This entire city has been altered by the Master of the Abyss's turning power. We call it the Turnover City. And with that, the episode ends.